Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be doing an oil service on a 2014 BMW X5 50i with the N63 engine. First thing we're going to do after we have the vehicle supported on the lift, we can go ahead and remove the engine oil fill cap. It's located right here behind the air filter box in front and in front of the engine acoustic cover. Just twist it off. Go ahead and set it down. Next we can go ahead and raise the vehicle due to the oil filter and the oil draining plug being located on the bottom side of the engine. Alright, so in order to service these vehicles, we have our drain plug in this cutout right here, and our oil filter in this larger cutout right here. So we'll go ahead and do the oil filter first. I like to do the oil filter first to allow a lot of the residual oil pressure in the system to drain back up into the oil pan, so that when you drain the oil it gives a better drain, and you remove as many of the contaminants and old oil as possible. So to do that, go ahead and grab your drain bucket, position it under the cutout, and then you grab your oil filter wrench adapter. Now I've got a 1/2 inch ratchet on it. Go ahead and break it loose. Want to spin it out 3 or 4 threads, and then you'll want to break the cap free. Sometimes that harness gets in the way. Remove the cap, because now what we're going to do to prevent a mess from the filter coming down, it's filled with oil. So when the filter drops out of there, the oil goes everywhere. So what I have found to reduce that is to actually raise the oil drain bucket so that it's flush with the bottom side of the skid plate. And then with your hand, you can go ahead and reach up in here, finish releasing the oil filter until it drops out, and this prevents the oil filter from falling a number of inches and causing a huge mess. Once the oil filter drops in the bucket, you can go ahead and lower the pan. Still leaves a little bit of a mess, but definitely not the kind of mess that would be left if you did not do that. Alright, so to replace our oil filter, go ahead and grab the old filter and cap and just kind of twist and pull the old filter out. It should pop right out. Once you get the old filter out, you can go ahead and remove the O-ring, which is located on this lower ridge down here. Just use a little 90-degree pick or a small screwdriver. Grab the back side of the O-ring so that when you do take it off, it doesn't fling out somewhere. You can go ahead and rub the cap down, get some of that oil residue off. So next we'll go ahead and grab our new filter. Got a filter, and then a new oil filter O-ring and crush washer for the drain plug. I like to install the oil filter first, so in order to do that, you want the writing on the down portion of the filter inside the cap. There's a portion of the filter that aligns with the middle portion of the filter. Just insert it into the cap and push it, and it'll snap into place. And then you can take your O-ring, feed it around the filter, and you'll want to get it in the bottom valley of the oil filter cap. There's 2 valleys that the O-ring could sit in. You want to do the furthest one closest to the actual cap ridge. Then before you install this, I found that it creates a better seal to actually, yes, lubricate the O-ring, but you don't want it to be soaking wet. And then furthermore, up inside where the filter goes into the engine block, go ahead and wipe that metal surface down with a rag and get it as dry as possible. Then go ahead and insert the filter and spin it in by hand a couple threads. Make sure you get a solid seat. Once you can no longer tighten it by hand, go ahead and put your filter wrench on and tighten it down until it bottoms out. There we go. So once it bottoms out, then you can go ahead and give it another 10 degrees of rotation and remove the cap. And lastly, we're going to go ahead and take some brake clean and just spray off the entire filter area to get as much of that oil residue off as possible. And grab your shop towel and go up inside the skid plate to get all the oil residue that's around, that collects up there. And that completes the oil filter replacement. Now we can go ahead and drain the engine oil. So in order to drain the oil, I'm just going to take an 8mm Allen socket, insert the ratchet and socket inside the oil pan hole, drain plug, and then release it. Spin it out a couple threads by hand, the socket attached to make it easier. And then you're going to want to position your drain bucket right under it. The oil comes out at a very wide waterfall-like angle. Then just finish spinning it out with your fingers. There we go. Once the oil gets to this point where it's just dripping like this, it's safe to go ahead and reinstall the drain plug. Make sure the old drain plug came out with the old copper crush washer. If it's not on the drain plug, it's going to be up inside on the oil pan mating surface. Go ahead and install your new crush washer. Make sure you thread the drain plug in by hand first to avoid possibly cross-threading the drain plug. These are just aluminum oil pans. And once you have it threaded in, you can go ahead and take your Allen key and tighten it down. Once it bottoms out with the oil pan, you can go ahead and give it another about 10 degrees of rotation, and that'll get it nice and snug. That's all it needs to be. It doesn't need to be super tight. Go ahead and clean up any residual oil from the draining, the oil filter. And that completes the oil draining process and the oil filter replacement. Now we can go ahead and lower the vehicle and add the engine oil. All right, we've got the vehicle back on the ground now. We can go ahead and add the engine oil. Go ahead and install your oil fill funnel and the oil cap opening. Now we've got our engine oil. These vehicles take 9.5 liters or 10 quarts of 0W30 full synthetic oil. Just gonna pour it in nice and slowly. It doesn't need to be super fast. Just a good even flow. If you do pour it in too quickly, it can overfill the filler neck, as the filler neck isn't designed to take a large volume of oil at once, and then that will create a mess. Alright, so we're done adding the engine oil. Go ahead and remove the funnel. Grab your engine oil fill cap, reinstall it. That completes the oil filling process. Now we can go inside the vehicle and perform the oil service light reset. Alright, we've made our way inside the vehicle. We're going to go ahead and reset the oil light now. In order to do that, make sure the key is inside the interior of the vehicle. Go ahead and push the start stop button one time. You'll see the check control messages and all the dash lights come on. Once they all go away, as they just did, you can go ahead and push the button in the lower left portion of the instrument cluster. You're going to push and hold it. You'll see the trip counter zero out and then reset to where it was. That's how you know you've done it correctly. Once the service menu pops up, you can go ahead and let go and then find the service that you want to select. In this case, it will be the engine oil. You'll push and hold. When the question mark pops up, you can go ahead and let go and then push and hold again. Once the resetting bar comes up, you can go ahead and let go. And it'll say reset successful. If it does say unsuccessful for whatever reason, just try and repeat the process. And that completes the oil service reset procedure on a 2014 X5. That completes our service episode on performing an oil service on a 2014 BMW X5 with the N63 engine. Please subscribe to the channel for more content like this one. Hope you found this video helpful, and we'll see you on the next one.